do you mean dustman?
Dustman? Oh, no, sir. A gentleman.
It's some relative of hers that she's gone to pick, someone we know nothing about. Send him up, quick.
Yes, sir.
Genteel relatives. Now we shall hear something.
Do you know any of her people?
Only her father, the fellow we told you about.
Mr. Doolittle.
See here! Do you see this? You done this.
Done what, ma'am?
This? I tell you. Oh, look at it. Huh? Oh, look at this coat. Hmm? Look at his hat.
Has Eliza been buying you clothes?
Not she, not have. Why don't you buy me clothes?
Good morning, Mr. Doolittle. Won't you sit down?
Oh, asking your pardon, ma'am. Thank you. I'm that full of what has happened to me that I can't think of anything else.
What the devil has happened to you?
Oh, I shouldn't mind if it only happened to me. Anything might happen to anybody, nobody to blame. Providence, as you might say. Oh, but this is something that you done to me.
Have you?
Oh, yes, you, Henry
Have you
Higgins.
found Eliza? That's the point.
Have you not, sir?
Yes.
Oh, you have all the luck you have. Well, I ain't found her. She'll find me quick enough now after what you've done to me.
But what has my son done to you, Mr. Doolittle?
Done to me? Ruined me. Destroyed my happiness. Torn me up and delivered me into the hands of middle-class morality.
You're raving. You're drunk. You're mad. I gave you £5. After that, I had 2 conversations with you at £0.50 an hour. I haven't seen you since.
Drunk, am I? Am I? Tell me this! Did you, or did you not write a letter to an old blighter in America that was giving $5 million to fund moral reform societies all over the world and wanted you to invent a universal language for
Right,
it?
Ezra D. Waterfeller, he's dead.
Yes, he's dead! Oh, no, I'm done for. Now, did you, or did you not write a letter to him to say that the most original moralist at present in England, to the best of your knowledge, was Alfred Doolittle, a common dastard?
I remember making some silly joke or other of the kind.
Ah, you may well call it a silly joke. So you put that little me right enough? Oh, just give him the chance he wanted to show that Americans is not like us. They recognise and respect merit in every class of life, however humble. Them words is in his blooming will, in which Henry Higgins, thanks to your silly joking, he leaves me a share in his pre-digested cheese trust for $3,000 a year on condition I lecture for his Waterfeller moral reform woe leagues off. Does he ask me? Oh, just 6 times a year.
It definitely does. What a luck.
Good thing for you, Doolittle. They won't ask you twice.
Oh, it ain't the lecturing I mind. I'll lecture him blue in the face, I would, and not turn hair. It's the making a gentleman of me that I object to. Who asked him to make a gentleman of me? Suppose I was happy. I was free. I touched pretty nigh everybody for money when I wanted it, same as I touched you, Henry Higgins. But now I'm worried. Tied neck and heels, and everybody touches me for money. It's a fine thing for you, says my solicitor. Is it, says I. You mean, oh, it's a good thing for you, I says. See, when I was a poor man and had a solicitor once and they found a pram in the dust cart, he got me off. Then got shut of me and got me shut of him as quick as he could. I was same with the doctors. They used to shove me out of the hospital before I could hardly stand on my legs. Nothing to pay. Now, they finds out I'm not a healthy man and can't live unless they looks after me twice a day. Around the house, I'm not let do a handstand myself. Someone else must do it and touch me for it. Oh, a year ago, I had no relative in the world except 2 or 3, and it wouldn't speak to me. Now I'm 50, and not a decent week's wages among the lot of them. have to live for others and not for myself. That's middle-class morality. Good time of using Eliza. Don't you be anxious. I would choose on my doorstep by this. She could support herself easy by selling flowers if I wasn't respectable. Next one to touch me will be you, Henry Higgins. So I'll have to learn to speak middle-class language from you instead of speaking proper English. That's where you'll come in. I dare say that's what you do.
But my dear Mr. Doolittle, you need not suffer all this if you are really in earnest. You can repudiate it. Isn't that right, Colonel Pickering?
I believe so.
That's the tragedy of it, man. It's easy to say, chuck it. I haven't lived. Which one of us has? We're all intimidated. Yeah, intimidated, man. That's what we are. What is there for me if I chuck it but the workhouse in my old age? I have to dye my hair all ready to keep my job as a dustman. If I was one of the deserving poor and could buy a bit, I could chuck it. And why should I? Because the deserving poor might as well be millionaires for the happiness they ever has. I don't know what happiness is. But I, as one of the undeserving poor, have nothing between me and the pauper's uniform but this here blasted 3,000 a year that shoves me in the middle class. Pardon the expression, man. You'd use it yourself if you had my provocation. I've got you. Every way you turn. Because it's a choice between the skinny of the workers and the charbiters of the middle class. I haven't been over the workers. I'm intimidated. That's what I am. Broke. Bought up. Oh, happier men than me will call for my dust and touch me for that tip and oracle and helpless and envy them. That's what your son has brought me to.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that you aren't going to do anything foolish, Mr. Doolittle. For this solves the problem of Eliza's future. You can provide for her now.
Yes, ma'am. I'm expected to provide for everyone now at $3,000 a year.
Nonsense. He can't provide for her. He shan't provide for her. I paid £5 for her. Doolittle, you're either an honest man or a rogue.
Little of both, Henry, like the rest of us. A little of both.
Well, you took the money for the girl, and you can't take the girl as well.
Henry, don't be absurd. If you really want to know where Eliza is, she's upstairs.
Upstairs? Then I shall jolly soon fetch her downstairs.
Be quiet, Henry, and sit down.
You'll not sit down.
Sit down here and listen to me.
Very well, very well. You might have told us this half an hour ago.
Eliza came to me this morning. She spent the night partly walking about in a rage, partly trying to throw herself into the river, and being afraid to, partly in the Carlton Hotel. She told me of the brutal way you two had treated her.
What?
My dear Mrs. Higgins, she's been telling you stories. We weren't brutal to her. We hardly said a word to her. We parted on particularly good terms. Higgins, you bullied her after I went to bed.
Just the other way around. She behaved the most outrageous way without the slightest provocation. She threw my slippers in my face. The slippers came bang into my face the moment I entered the room, before I'd even uttered a word, and used perfectly horrible language.
Why? What did you do to her?
I think I know pretty well what you did. The girl is naturally rather affectionate, I think. Isn't she, Mr. Doolittle?
Very tender-hearted, man. No, she takes after me.
Just so. She had become attached to you both. She worked very hard for you, Henry. I don't think you quite realize what anything in the nature of brain work means to a girl like that. Well, it seems the great day of trial came, and she did this wonderful thing for you without making a single mistake. You two sat there and never said a word to her, but talked together of how glad you were that it was all over and how you had been bored with the whole thing. And then you were surprised that she threw your slippers at you? I should have thrown the firearms at you.
We said nothing except that we were tired and wanted to go to bed, did we, Pick?
That was all.
Quite sure.
Absolutely. Really, that was all.
You didn't thank her or pet her or admire her, tell her how splendid she'd been?
She knew all that, but didn't make speeches to her, that's what I mean.
Perhaps we were a little inconsiderate. Is she very angry?
Well, I'm afraid she won't go back to Wimpole Street, especially now that Mr. Doolittle is able to keep up the position you two have thrust on her. But she says she's quite willing to meet with you two on friendly terms and let bygones be bygones.
Will she buy, George?
If you promise to behave yourself, Henry, I will ask her to come down. If not, go home, for you have taken up quite enough of my time.
Oh, very well. You behave yourself, Peck. Let's put on our Sunday manners for this creature that we have picked out of the mud.
Now, Henry Higgins, have some consideration for my feelings as a middle-class man.
Remember your promise, Henry. Mr. Doolittle, would you mind stepping out onto the balcony for a moment? I don't want Eliza to have the shock of your news before she has made it up with these two gentlemen. Would you mind?
As you wish, lady. Anything to help Henry keep her off my hands?
Ask Miss Doolittle to come down, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, Henry,